What different areas do you personally make sure you're filtering?
Well, air and water for sure. And I feel like I've just keep adding to the water filters like, because they're I mean, it's the water is here in America, it's like we look at other third world countries and we're like, oh, it's so sad they don't have clean water, but we don't even realize we don't have clean water. So definitely water filters are massively important, and then air filters. I'll tell you where I have it's a non-negotiable for me. I have a major air filter in my bedroom, because at night is when I'm looking at as a detox opportunity. So that those are the two biggest. And then something as simple as, do you have a daily bowel movement? A lot of people, like, I sat with so many patients when I would ask them, like, how are your bowel movements, and they would say, oh yeah, they're pretty good. Like, I think I go every 3 or 4 days. Okay, that's not a good bowel movement. You want to go every single day. And you need to get the stuff out that your body's trying to get rid of. So there's things like that. We've got coffee enemas and castor oil packs to open up the liver. I think that's phenomenal. And we have to look at a lot of these new detox strategies and realize that the reason we need more strategies is because we live in the most toxic time in human history. It's such a depressing topic. So if you're like listening to this and you're like, oh my God, I can't keep up, I hear you. And you're living in a different world today than you did 30 years ago. So we've got to start to adapt our lifestyle to this crazy new world that we're living in.
And it's a lot up front, and it's a lot of learning, shows like this and different readings. But when you make the shifts, a lot of it's just easy maintenance after that. So it can be a lot for people, but and you also don't need to do it all today. You can take a piece of
That's
this.
right.
This is a long conversation. We've shared a lot here. Take a piece, build some inertia, and then just continue building on that.
Yeah. Like makeup's a big one. A lot of women that I talk to are like, no, like, my makeup is perfect. My favorite perfume that I've worn forever. Like, I am not changing that. So then I go, okay, well, go to Think Dirty and let's just see what score it gets, because it'll score it. And then they come back and they're like, oh my God, it scored a 7, which would be horrible, or a 6 would be bad. Anything over a 3 is bad. And so my recommendation is, and the next thing typically they'll say is, but my makeup's so expensive. And I'll say, okay, just when you run out, what I'm going to ask is that you try to find a cleaner version. And you use, replace it one by one by one. And maybe at the end of a year, you've got it completely replaced. And I think that's the way that we can approach this. Otherwise, it's quite a daunting task.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to stop people in their tracks feeling overwhelmed. And I think it depends on the person too. If somebody's tuning into this and they have a chronic disease, they're type 2 diabetic or they have cancer, they might need to I would say they need to make more radical shifts in their health quicker than somebody who is 23 and feeling good but wants to live a long, healthy lifestyle. So you mentioned, taking a year with the makeup, the latter example there, that might be more applicable in that situation. So again, like everything we're talking about today, it's very nuanced and we're giving a general idea, but everybody's different and they need to apply what we're saying to their unique situation.
That's super well said, because if you're facing a diagnosis, you're going to want to, everything I just talked about, or we've been talking about, is like, yeah, you want to take it with the utmost seriousness and really dive in to look at your food, look at where your toxic load may be, your makeups, your supplements, your household cleaners, like your internal environment, if you have a scary diagnosis. If you're listening to this and you're like, okay, I just don't want a scary diagnosis, or I want to slow down aging, or I want more energy, okay, then let's slowly unwind this toxic load that you have. And I think that's the conversation that's the most helpful for all of us, because what I noticed in health is if we're overwhelmed, we don't take action. And I love this idea that people don't need motivation to be healthy, they need momentum. And so you can build momentum by just starting to make small change after small change and just watch how everything in your life and your energy and your brain and your sleep and watch how it changes. That would be what I would tell like the 23-year-old is just let's just start looking at where toxins are infiltrating in and what can we get rid of. Whereas the 45-year-old that was just given a breast cancer diagnosis, now's the time. Like we got to dive all in.
I agree. And when you're talking about your filtration for your water, it sounds like it's been an evolution and you've come to this powerful spot now. What are
Yeah.
you doing for your water?
Oh my God, do you want to know? Okay, I have 3 things. So the first is I'm a big fan of reverse osmosis. So unfortunately, in my zip code, they put fluoride in our water. And that's a neurotoxin. So I want to make sure that filters out. So I have a reverse osmosis system. The second thing is I have in my kitchen a hydrogen water. Have you tried hydrogen water?
I have.
What do you think of it?
Is that with the capsules?
No, mine actually comes through a filter system. It's by Synergy Science. And what it does is it's just hydrogen, and we're back at the microbes. What it does is it really helps change the terrain of your gut and helps feed the microbes in a positive way. So my drinking water is now reverse osmosis with hydrogen water, so that I'm feeding my microbes. So that's my drinking water. And then I just added something else in. I don't know if you know Analemma, but they have a coherent water filter that actually makes sure that all water coming into your house, not just drinking water, but the water you're showering in, is the harmonic frequency of our cells. And the way that Mario, who created the product, calls it is that it is geared towards making sure that the cell is in a state of love. So I just added that in. And, here's the funny part of that story is that my 23-year-old moved home temporarily. And I'm like, let's see how if this is going to change the vibration of everybody in the house. So, but I'm not telling everybody to do that. I'm just saying that's how crazy I've gotten with water.
No, and it's fun. And again, you've been doing this for a long time and evolved to that place. I've tried some kind of hydrogen in water. I've tried a lot of things different companies have sent, and I enjoyed it, but I'll have to look into this, what you're talking about here.
You know what shocked me with my hydrogen water? It's called a Echo O2 machine. And you can just go to Synergy Science, is that when I water fast, it killed my hunger. So the first time I got it in my house, like on a Monday, and Wednesday I started a 3-day water fast. Both my husband and I did. And my husband's the biggest skeptic when it comes to all of this stuff. And I'm like, supposedly it kills your hunger. And that was the easiest 3-day water fast both of us have ever done. By the 3rd day, we're like, I guess, should we keep going? I don't know. Like we were just not hungry. It was really weird. So sometimes, this is also interesting, Jesse, is sometimes we're hungry because our microbes are hungry, not because we need food. So what happens is hydrogen water supplies that and is part of why it kills hunger.
And you're doing RO at the beginning, removing everything from the water. Do you add minerals back in?
It's a great question. I do a ton of minerals every day. That would be another one, liquid minerals that I've been adding in. So yes, I do add minerals back in.
If you enjoyed that clip, press here for the full episode. I'll see you over there.
But what we're doing right now is we're just having women push on through every day of the month, and that's destroying her hormones. And now you've got PCOS, you've got infertility, you have mood disorders, you have menopause, perimenopause, like